Keeping in line with Young and McGarry's theory, this paper contends that some of the motivating factors that contribute to the permanent underclass in African Americans have been racial segregation, socioeconomic status and experiences of unfair treatment. One thing that has helped to set racial segregation in stone in the United States is that during the Negro slave era and even now, it was and is the belief of some that whites are superior to blacks. This belief has since been reinforced through practices such as separate and unequal public accommodations in schools, employment opportunities and housing. Even while the laws have changed since the slave era, much of the attitude among some elites remain the same. The federal government, state and local officials have continuously been unwilling to enforce the laws of the land concerning certain groups. This unwillingness can still, most obviously, be seen in the state's refusal to enforce the 14th and 15th Amendments. Because of the state's resistance and the fact that change in the South had been so slow in coming, many African Americans have given up hope that prejudice and discrimination will dissipate. In his work The Truly Disadvantaged, William Julius Wilson, 1987, suggests that a disproportionately large number of African Americans, referred to as the ghetto poor, have become detached from the lifestyle associated with American culture. Wilson points out that being spatially and culturally isolated from the middle class often prevents African Americans from adopting middle-class values and norms. David Harris in his studies suggests that whites have an aversion and considerable resistance to co-residence with blacks. A number of studies have been done in connection with the permanent underclass and unemployment. According to Javins and Williams, 1989, A Common Destiny, the unemployment rate among black and white men during the 80s was whites 1 in 10 white men unemployed, while black men were 8 in 10. Many studies suggest that African Americans are losing the battle with unemployment. To make the preceding point more salient, unemployment among African Americans is significantly higher now than it has been since 1983. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Employment Situation Summary between November 2008 and March 2009, unemployment on average for African Americans was 12.8%. The existence of an African American underclass has become an unending feature on the American landscape. Karl Marx in his theories suggested a number of concepts that remain influential in today's society. One of these theories were that during the 18th and 19th century industrialism created a permanent underclass of workers. In his work, The Impact of Macro-Social Systems on Ethnic Minorities in the United States, Alfred Jarrett, 2002, contends that the lingering vestiges of racism, the lack of economic opportunities and radical changes in the job market are direct causes for swollen ranks of African American underclass. Page 63. Marx asserted that these workers are more often than not at the bottom of the ladder economically, politically, educationally, and socially. Each day the gap between rich and poor grows wider in American society. This is particularly true for African American minorities and urban cities in America. Studies have shown that African Americans are often less learned, politically represented, and well-off economically than whites or other ethnic minority groups like Asians and Hispanics. Bloom and Heinemann, 2007, discussed President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal. As they write, the New Deal, according to Bloom and Heinemann, 2007, was the most expansive government movement into social reform previous to the Great Society of Lyndon B. Johnson. Page 33. The New Deal was set up to support retirement programs and construct opportunities for job skills, education, home ownership and small business creation. Together, these domestic programs radically reshaped the country's social construction by creating a contemporary, well-schooled, home-owning middle class. African Americans, of course, were left out of all of this. The New Deal was no deal for African Americans. On the surface, the New Deal appeared to be a good plan, one that would help the underprivileged. In the end, the New Deal did nothing more than worsen the poor conditions African Americans already faced. Some economists estimate that nearly 500,000 African Americans lost their jobs because of the New Deal. A great number of Southern members of Congress used exclusionary practices and took advantage of the American federalism system to ensure that national policies would not disturb their area's racial order. Jobs such as farm workers and house cleaners' jobs, held mostly by blacks in the South, were denied access to Social Security pensions and access to labor unions. It can be argued that Roosevelt's New Deal policy was a socialist policy that did little more than prolong the Great Depression. It was actually the war which sparked the economy and created hundreds of new jobs for African Americans.